Guys, feel free to show your beautiful and handsome faces on the Zoom call. It'd be awesome instead of talking to just like names across the screen. And I know y'all are cute right now, so. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. It's 12:32, and I think we have only 4 more people waiting to join the room. I'll start introducing myself. We'll dive into the activity. We have an hour with each other, so it's gonna be a good hour. It's gonna fly by, actually. So I'll start by saying thank you for being here for the Slowing Down with Gratitude session. Before this session, I did another session called the Holistic Wellness Wheel, where we were diving deep, just, focusing on ourselves and really assessing where we are in the space currently, professionally and personally. So what we're going to do, it's a spin on just how grateful are we? How do we feel, right? And just teaching gratitude. And I don't mean this in a kumbaya kind of way, right? I don't want people to think, oh God, this is going to be like a yogi session. Not at all. Gratitude can be practiced outside of yoga as well. And I say that because I went to a session, a conference one day, somebody was like, are we going to do yoga? I was like, relax. No, you could do gratitude anyway, in your car, when you wake up, when you're in the bathroom, right? So it looks different. So I'll start, let me just present the slide. And thank you to those people that are dropping their names in the chat and introducing yourselves. 1 second. Okay. All right, awesome. So welcome. You are here for the Slowing Down with Gratitude session called Raise Them Up. So we're going to be with each other till 1:30. My name is Jennifer Rodriguez. And quick question for you all. Are you familiar with Kid Grit? Have you ever taken a training or done a training with Kid Grit? You can put it in the chat. You can nod. You can say yes, no, maybe. Kind of heard of you, kind of didn't. Yes. Hi, hey, Darlene. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Awesome. Awesome, good. So Claus has not, a lot of I have, and a lot of yeses. Okay, this makes me happy. Good. So it's not like we're complete strangers. Yes, okay, Darlene, she said yes, very familiar. Okay, awesome. Let me close this a little bit. So Kid Grit, for those of you who don't know what Kid Grit is or who we are a small startup company founded in LA by 2 wonderful individuals, Julia Gabor and Jeffrey Jordan, who are both the mindful founders of the company. And just a quick, brief synopsis of their backgrounds. Jeffrey and Julia reconnected in New York City some time ago, about 7 years ago. And Julia has a background in curriculum development, while Jeffrey has a background in holistic wellness. And both individuals grew up in underserved communities and just had a rough childhood growing up. So what they did when they came across each other was they wanted to design a program or a company geared towards working with young people from troubled backgrounds, or just young people who weren't seen, right? Because it's different to be seen in school for the instruction, the grades that you get, and then being seen for the person that you are. So they created a program, created the company, and here we have Kid Grit. So Kid Grit, we take a very holistic approach to developing the next generation of mindful leaders. We are a company that, yes, we do a lot of professional development. Like, that is the basis of our company, a lot of curriculum. However, we are very driven by personal development, right? And like I said earlier, we focus so much on having 10 degrees, on having the best GPA, on having the most beautiful resume, but then we forget who we are at the core, at our hearts, in our minds, because we want to be this person professionally, but who are we personally, right? So that's a conversation that we always come back to. Oh, sorry, So just another little bit of tidbit about the company. We are an innovative, soul-driven, personal and professional-driven company. We focus a lot on passion, perseverance, grit, self-confidence, which all leads ultimately to success. In KidGrit, we are a collective who's passionate about equipping educators and students with the tools that they need for success. We are innovative. We take a very mindful approach to how to build confidence and character, resiliency, social emotional learning, self-care, and wellness. One of the beautiful things about us is that we focus on human development. We are very driven by human development, who you are, what makes you you, and we always go 7 layers deep. You know, the 7 layers of why, like we're always asking why. Like, why do you do this? Why do you think like that? What prompted you to do that? Why, right? Like we try to get at the core of who we are. So before I move forward, just quickly about me. I'm originally from New York City. I am from the South Bronx, born and raised. I currently live in Florida, Orlando, Florida. I've been here for 2.5 years. My background is all youth development. Since the age of 14, I've been in youth development. In New York, I worked in nonprofit where I oversaw underserved community centers that were housed in night shift facilities or affordable housing in underserved neighborhoods of Brooklyn, New York. So if you know anything about Brooklyn, it's just a crime-ridden. There are certain parts that are crime-ridden and drug-ridden, and that's where I worked. And we had community centers where we house and we service grades cradle through the grave. So with the babies all the way through our senior citizens. After I did that, I transitioned out of New York, and here in Florida, I transitioned into a completely different career where I taught. Not entirely different, right? But it went from nonprofit to the DOE down in Florida. And I taught for 1.5 years. I taught ELA and I hated it. I hated teaching, not because I hated the kids, but because I felt confined in the classroom. I wasn't able to build teams the way that I wanted to because I was very limited as to what I could teach as an ELA teacher. And then I resigned and I said, you know what? I'm going to get back out there and I'm going to do the job that I love. And here I am doing the job that I love, building people, teaching, facilitating, and just orchestrating all this amazing stuff. So that is me. If you have any questions at any point, please put it in the chat. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know. I always say that my Dominican side kicks in when I get nervous. So I start to speak very fast and then I stutter. But once I'm in it, I'm flowing. So let's start. Let's get into the space. Let's set the tone. Let's set the mood. My question to you, right? Oops, sorry. My question to you. What does a safe space mean to you? What do you need to learn and to be present today? So I'm going to give us 2 minutes. You can put this in the chat or you can feel free to speak it, unmute yourselves. In the chat, go ahead or unmute yourselves. What do you need today to feel safe? What do you need to learn? What do you need to be present? So go ahead and put in the chat. I'll give us 2 minutes. It's 12:40. So is it that you need to be seen? Is it that you need respect? Is it that you need a judgment-free zone? Everyone's style of learning is completely different. So what do you need? So go ahead and put it in here. And if you're having a hard time thinking about what you need, think about I don't know what kind of work you do if you're on the ground with staff or with students, but think about what your students would need or what your staff would need. Ooh, I see some good ones coming in. Understanding, openness, processing time, support, judgment-free zone, limited interruption. Keep it coming. We have a minute. I apologize for the background noise. I am in a shared space. I'm so sorry. Okay, I love what I am seeing. So I'm going to read through some of them. So understanding, processing time, judgment-free zone, respect and understanding, open minds, patience, compassion, belonging, kindness, time to process before action. Yes. We all have different styles of learning, expressing ideas respectfully, space to be yourself without judgment, Yes. Sharing your thoughts with someone and you know it will stay only with them. Confidentiality. Yes. Support and understanding, knowing that your opinion counts. A safe place where you don't have to be, but a place where you want to be. Ooh, okay, Mr. Robert Fuentes, that is a tweetable quote. A safe place where you don't have to be, but you want to be. Yes, I echo that. Just be me. I am who, okay, Ms. Darlene, I am who I am. These are all right answers. These are all things that make up a safe space. All right. Non-judgmentally. Yes. So I think that it's fair to say that we all want to be seen, even those of us that are very introverted, we all want to be seen, we all want to be acknowledged, we all want to be, celebrated for whatever it is, however we contribute to whatever work we do. So I think this is the opportunity for that. In this hour, we're going to have an opportunity to share with each other when we go into the breakout rooms. So use that time to build with each other. Before I continue, can I have everyone in the chat acknowledge that we are going to value our safe space, and just type in the chat, I acknowledge my safe space. That's like our signature since we are not with each other. So put it in the chat, I acknowledge my safe space. That lets me know that you are here, you're present with us, you get it. Oh, I love it. It's like a rainfall of chats, of comments. Awesome. All right. Well, now that most of us, all of us have acknowledged our safe spaces, let's go ahead and continue. Ooh, I keep doing this for my screen. All right. So let's have a discussion. Let's have a discussion. We're going to go into breakout rooms in a second. Let's think about the work that we do, right? We're all in some capacity in youth development, right? We're here because we do youth development. However it is, we do it. So what challenging student behaviors are you experiencing, right? And maybe you're not on the ground working directly with kids. Maybe you're getting feedback from your staff. What are the challenging behaviors that your staff is experiencing? All right. So if our wonderful co-host can go ahead and break us out into rooms and give us 5 minutes, I'd like us to discuss this question. What challenging student behaviors are we experiencing? Is my co-host team there with me? Miss Amy.
Room should be open.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to put the question again in the chat. So as you go into your breakout rooms, think about what challenging behaviors you are experiencing, or what is your staff experiencing? Is everyone getting the prompt to go into a room?
I'm not yet. I haven't seen anything.
Okay.
We're having it there.
Oh. No. If Nelson or Amy can support, please here.
Yes, you'll see a breakout option in your lower toolbar, or at least you should.
Oh, so you want me to break them out?
No, hold on. It should allow them to choose it. 1 second.
I apologize, guys. No problem mentality. If we're not able to go into breakout rooms, we're then going to have this discussion with each other. Let's just give Amy a couple seconds. Amy, we're going to have the discussion amongst ourselves here, and then for the next one, we'll go into a breakout session. All right?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So I stopped sharing my screen, but since we're here in this space with each other, let me ask you, what challenging behaviors is your staff experiencing with students, or what are you experiencing with students? And then my second backup question to that is, how are you managing those behaviors? Like, how are you troubleshooting? What techniques do you have in place? So we can either have a dialogue if people want to unmute themselves, or you can put things in the chat. It'll be nice if people spoke. So Ms. Ann Brooks said refusal to comply and follow instructions. Okay. What else? What are some challenging behaviors we're experiencing?
I've been hearing a lot about how kids are still having trouble transitioning back into the classroom after COVID and being consistent with like what's expected of them, you know, continuing kind of like to following, you know, those expectations. And then also meeting those expectations. We're kind of living in a different world than we were pre-COVID. And so have the expectations changed to meet where students are at, or are they still expected to function at the same, you know, level? So I think there's just like a disconnect in those areas.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, Lauren, that is absolutely true. I echo what you're saying. I do see that there are a lot of young people having a hard time adjusting and their attention. So I'm seeing in the chat a lot more young people with ADHD, defiance behaviors, refusing to do as asked, attitude of just not caring, kiddos saying mean things to each other. So we have been doing affirmations. Ooh, Mr. Sack. Mr. Weidler, I know that's, or is that the name of the program? Weidler, Stack Weidler. We have been doing affirmations, but saying them to each other. You are smart, you are beautiful, you are strong. We have a very similar activity we do, and we're gonna do one today. Unkind hate language. Rachel is experiencing more and more defiance, refusal to comply, more ADHD behavior, attitudes, kids needing a lot of attention, more trouble with self-regulation. Vaping, oh my God, vaping. I see kids walking around with vapes. I'm like, excuse me, how old are you? 5? Why do you have a vape in your hands? But that's another topic for another day. Parent accountability, yes. Selective listening amongst some students, yes. Yes, I took one from a 4th grader yesterday. Listen, I'll leave the Caribbean inside of me, but what I want to say is not very professional, but we're going to keep it real professional in this recording, but I don't know why kids have vapes. Like, I don't get it. But to bring it back, all these responses are valid, right? So we have students who are they're having troubling behavior, their thinking is different, their attention span is different. So then they come to us for after school or for day school, and then it's like, okay, what do we do with these kind of kids? Do we immediately suspend them? Do we immediately send them out the classroom? Do we immediately give it a detention? Like, how do we cope? So what we're going to do is we're going to channel like everything that is social emotional learning. And we're going to take on a different approach to managing different behaviors. And someone had mentioned that they do affirmations with their kids, right? Which is part of SEL, right? Just affirming who you are, having that time to like sit down and woosah. When students are introduced to a different way of coping with themselves and processing, like you get a different response for them. When you when you meet a student where they're at and you're combative, just like them, you're not gonna get much out of them, right? Because you're battling with them. They're like, all right, I see you, Ms. Rodriguez, battling with me, so I'm gonna fight you because you're fighting me. You're not gonna get much. But when you simmer yourself down and you come from a place of gratitude, when you come from a place of appreciation, and when you come with a strength-based approach, students have a different response to you because it's like, whoa, like I'm being annoying as hell. And, you know, Miss Lauren is she's calm. Her voice is still at a 1. She's seeing me. She understands that I'm being a pain in the behind, but she's redirecting me differently. She's not just telling me go out the classroom. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on some gratitude, okay? And I want you to think about what that means for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen in a second. Oops, let me go ahead here. Okay. But before we go into some gratitude, I do want to share the agenda for the remainder of the session. So today we've gone into introductions, we've gone into some connection, right? So talking about our safe spaces. I made a mistake here right before this call. This holistic wellness wheel, I'm going to briefly touch upon what it is and what it looks like, but we're not going to do the activity. We're going to jump straight into gratitude, and we're going to go into our breakout rooms. Then we're going to have more conversations around gratitude and how it connects to the youth, and then we're going to reflect, and then we should be done. All right. So this is it. This is where we're going to start jumping into our breakout rooms. I want us to take 5 minutes, right? And I just want you to make a list. It can be on the notebook that you have in front of you, just a notepad on your phone, maybe in the note sections. I want you to write down as many things as you can that you're grateful for. And I don't want you to keep it surface area. I don't want you to be like, I am grateful for the iPhone that I have on my hand. Like, no, I want you to get a little deeper. I want you to say things along the lines like, I am grateful that I woke up, that I'm out of bed, that when I stood up out of bed, my 2 feet touched the ground, right? I am grateful that I was able to open my eyes and actually made it to another day. I am grateful that I have the job that I have, right? So we're going to go into breakout rooms and we're going to spend 5 minutes just going through this, writing down everything that we're grateful for. And then I'm going to give you further instructions in the chat. Sounds good? Yeah? All right, so let me stop sharing my screen. Amy, are you here with us?
Yes, Jennifer, for some reason, Zoom seems to be having a bug and the breakout rooms that we created before won't close.
Okay, that's fine. So, no, all good, no problem mentality. We're gonna do this individually and we're gonna come back as a whole entire group. So, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes now. It is 12:53. So you have until 12:57 and I'll keep time and I'll put it in the chat. So just write down as many things as you're grateful for. Are we good? All right, you have 5 minutes, go. Write it down. Do not put it in the chat. Write it down in your notepads. And you may want to start by, like this. I am grateful for, and then list everything you're grateful for. Sorry, I was muted. I said, we are back. I was just vibing to the music. It felt good to listen to the music and just, be in that space. All right. So let's come back to it, right? Let's talk about it. Who is feeling brave enough or willing or vulnerable enough to share some of the things that they're grateful for? And how did it feel to have that time to write those things down? How are you feeling before you had to write it down? And then how you feel now that you wrote what you're grateful for down? And this is open to anyone and everyone.
I'll share a little bit, Jennifer.
Yeah.
So I think in the beginning, it was easy for me to say, oh, I'm thankful for like my family, my children, my husband, my home, my job, like those bigger like concepts. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, what else? And I was like, I'm thankful that like I can use my knowledge to make good choices for myself and my family, or, things in my life are stable and they're working well right now. So like, it was like more, less like obtuse concepts, and they were just more specific, and it made me smile. It's like, yeah, like that's a good thing. Like here I am thinking about like all of the things that have lined up in my life up until now that have made it work for me. So that's kind of how I felt about it.
That's amazing. And you went ahead and you asked yourself why several times. You're like, all right, why is it important that I have a family and a husband and kids? And then this is why. And then you said, ask yourself why again. So you got granular, right? With the level of gratitude, and it's important. Let me ask you, did it just make you smile? Did it do something to like your thinking, to like your happy feelings? Did it just trigger something different in you?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think when you get down, like I said, past the bigger concepts of, just what you're thankful for, I think that it brings that up in you. It like bubbles up like, oh, okay, the things that I've worked hard for, or that I've been working at for a long time, or, you always hear that phrase like, oh, if I could talk to my 15-year-old self or myself 5 years ago, she wouldn't believe where I'm at now, So like those kinds of things, like, it's like, okay, like, wow, look at all these small pieces that have made up all the big pieces of my life that I now have,
100%. Sometimes we focus so much on the small stuff, or like the things that aren't as important, like the problems, and we make it bigger than what it is. And you have so much more to be thankful for, right? Thank you so much, Lauren. Let's hear from a couple other people. I'm about to start picking names. I see people looking at me in the chat. I see Miss Thix. I was gonna pick on you, Miss Thix.
So yes, so I can always find gratitude, but when we were just kind of waiting and listening to the soft music, and I heard Lauren share about the job and the house and the car and I'm always grateful for those things. But the number one thing I'm always grateful for is just to be alive. There are so many people that just didn't witness this day. So I always start my day off with that first. But then as I sat here and I was just thinking about other things I was grateful for, I have a family that I love with everything in me. And just knowing that everybody right now in this moment is okay. Nothing's going on. There are no health issues. There's I always say, peace, be still. And I just get like the chills, because with everything else going on around us, my family right now in this moment, everybody's pretty good.
Yes. I love to hear it. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry I said, I see Thix. That's why I called you Thix, but Miss Hicks, thank you for sharing.
It's fine.
Yeah, man, like again, and back to what you said and Lauren said, it boils down to so much more than that. And it's just, I know it sounds cliche, but it's the little simple things that we have that are enough. Some of us, we chase money, we chase the degrees, we chase all these other things. And in the mix, we start to get lost. And time is the one thing that we do not get back. You could get money back, you lose it, you could make it back. You figure it out, you'll make it back. You lost a materialistic thing, you can buy it back. But time is that one thing we don't get back. So the more you start to cherish that and acknowledge that, your approach and your outlook and your perspective on things is a little different. Let me ask, who else? And let me hear from a couple people. I saw some people got off the camera and then came back on and got off.
For me,
who's speaking? Sorry. Who is it?
My name is Rita. I'm from Wilder Elementary with the
Hey,
YMCA.
Rita.
The one thing that pops in my mind when we're talking about gratitude is something we've been talking about for a couple of days now. We had a big
Mhm.
storm here in Louisville, and it knocked a lot of people's power out. And for, like Miss Turlin said, my entire family is safe right now. None of us went without power at all. But people around us, very, very close to us, lost power. A lot of schools lost power, but we not for one day went without power. And we have power now, and all of our kiddos have power. So I was just really grateful for that. And we've been talking about that all weekend, about how grateful we should be that we didn't lose power at all. Like not even for 2 minutes did we lose it. So we're
Right?
pretty grateful for that.
Amen. Amen. You have your power, bet you a lot of people whose power right now, they probably are, their food is spoiling, just small things. People who probably need machines to breathe and to function are having a hard time right now. So huge things to be grateful for. Thank you for sharing. Who else? I see Nico in the chat. Nico from St. Raphael. Oh no, he said bye. I'm not speaking.
Jennifer, I'll share since
Go
I
ahead,
didn't get to
Jen.
share the last time. So, just contrary to what was just said, we did lose power in our part of the state for a couple days. But I think, as was acknowledged, a lot of times we go to the tangible things we can touch, the material things. And when you think a little deeper about that, it really becomes a sense of more than if everything were taken away from us right now, what could we still be gracious for? And it's sort of, I know sometimes it sounds like we want to paint a rosy picture, but the reality is all of us have things in our life that we can't touch, but we are very grateful for, and it helps carve and helps form who we are. So being able to think about those and reflect on those, I think is very powerful. And then it also helps shape other people that we come in contact with too.
For sure. Thank you so much, Jim. I'm happy your camera started to work in your audio and you're here with us. 100%. Someone asked the question, we were in a group and someone asked the question, how would you identify yourself if you had to remove all the labels, right? So if I remove the label of me being a parent, of me being a real estate agent, of me being an education consultant, if I remove all those labels, right? And I was just stripped of that, how would I view myself? Would I be grateful for the person that I am without all those labels? And it was a deep question. I was like, it made me uncomfortable. I was like, well, I wouldn't be anyone. And that's not true, right? Because I'm still a person. But then it's up to me to define who I am. What am I grateful for? What is at my core? What are my beliefs? What do I stand for? So everything is connected to everything. And we can be on the Zoom call for hours having these deep conversations. Before I continue and ask another question, does anyone else want to share? I'm honoring our safe space. Waking up. I'm thankful for my job. I'm blessed for the opportunity to serve and help others. Amen. Waking up in my right mind and ability to love and be loved. Yes, yes, yes. I'm so grateful that my little sister is safe and healthy as she has delivered her first little boy. Congratulations, Auntie. I won't share all the details, but this situation has been very scary since she first found she was pregnant. And here we are holding God. If you don't believe in God, the universe, whoever that higher power is, amen. All right, guys. So now that you've shared this, let's transition and talk about the young people that we work with, or, our challenging students. How would doing an exercise like this with them benefit them? Why would it be important for us to calm them down and have them go through an exercise of the things that they're grateful for when they're being challenging?
Just the introspection.
Sorry, who spoke? I missed it.
That's Nico.
Hey, Nico. Yeah, tell us some more. So introspection, what do you mean? Say more about that.
It teaches the kids the ability to start looking inside of themselves and questioning themselves in a way that they may not have been normally asked to do.
Why?
I think it's a really healthy thing for them to do. And I don't think a lot of people think that they have the capability to do it, but I think they do. I think, you know, you can take preschoolers and you can actually get them to take a lesson in gratitude.
And I'm going to push it a little further. Why is that important? I'm going to go here to the deep why. And I'm not, you know, we can support Nico, whoever wants to jump in and support him, but why is that important?
I think when you're in the middle of dealing with a challenging behavior, it's really easy to see the negatives, both for the child and for the adult in the interaction. So I think that when you start talking about the positives, it shifts the mind's focus towards those strengths, and takes it away from the situation. Like, okay, this is maybe not a good situation, but it doesn't make you a bad person. There's so many other things about you that make you a good person. You're just having a hard time right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What else? What else comes up for you, for other people in this chat? How would this be as a benefit? Just going through this exercise of gratitude for challenging student or students. And there's no right or wrong answer, just a conversation amongst us youth professionals.
I think it just makes them have a newfound respect for themselves and for their peers too.
Why? How would gratitude tie into respect?
Well, just kind of learning what they are grateful for, and then what their peers are grateful for would make them reflect on themselves as well. What is it that they really are grateful for? Is there anything that they can relate to or not relate to? Things like that.
Thank you. I heard somebody else was going to speak before Rachel spoke. Thank you, Rachel.
Also, it gives them an opportunity to be grateful for something. And I mean, like when you're angry, you're focused on the situation for the here and now. So transition in their mind from something negative to something positive is going to change their attitude. But also, just because they took that time to stop, it also gives them a time to kind of almost like taking deep breaths, but they're thinking about, instead of just air, they're putting positive things back inside of them.
Thank you. And what's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't see who was speaking.
I'm sorry, this is Dina with the YMCA.
Hey, Dina, thank you so much for sharing that. That was a perfect segue. There's something about sharing positivity, and it's like the body and the mind releases like these endorphins, and immediately there's a shift in our behavior, right? There's a shift in our attitude. Think about yourself when you're having a rough day. I don't know how many people practice this, but for me, when I'm having a hard time and I can't think, I just can't I can't process, I have to stand up. I have to go outside, stand right underneath the sun, let the sun hit me, and just breathe and think about all the things that make me happy, be it the sun, the beach, my family, a funny joke, anything, right? And immediately it's like, I start to, I just start to calm my body. Like I start to de-stress and my thoughts start to shift into more of a positive thinking. It's the same thing for a young kid. And I don't know where, what districts you serve, but I know that a lot of our youth development work, specifically specific funding is targeted toward underserved communities. So if we're talking about kids who are giving you challenging behavior, and then we're thinking about where they're coming from or what their circumstances are, the opportunity to just think about small things that they never thought they were grateful for is big. It's like, damn, my behavior, I'm being kind of a jerk to Miss Lauren today. But the truth is that I'm grateful for Miss Lauren because she's pretty fun. Like she's funny. She jokes with me. I'm grateful for all these other things. So giving an opportunity for students to take a different approach to thinking and just their behavior regulates them on a whole different level. It draws the students' attention on their capabilities. Yep. Gratitude helps us realize proactive strategies to moving forward 100%. I'm going to share my screen again. We have 15 minutes with each other. I told you time was flying and I'm not even done with my slides, but I'm going to share my screen and just go through some things with you. Oops. Here we are. Share. Close this out. All right. So can y'all hear the printer? I'm in a shared space and they're printing right now. So Why multiple impressions are important, the practice of gratitude. So like we were saying, and we hinted it at it, gratitude changes just like the psyche, the way that we think, right? And this is a quote from Harvard research, and it says, giving thanks can make you happier. The simple act of giving thanks. And I'm not talking about the thank you that we do at Thanksgiving once a year. I'm talking about every day being thankful for something, right? Having that daily practice of gratitude, it just changes something in you. So, quote, in positive psychology research, gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. Gratitude helps people feel more positive emotions, relish good experiences, and improve their health, deal with adversity, and build strong relationships. I just want to preface this by saying that we're not the pioneers of gratitude. Like, we didn't invent gratitude. It's something that we adopt into the work that we do because we are focused on social emotional learning, right? So when you Google the word gratitude, so many things come up. When you Google how to practice gratitude, thousands, like a plethora of ideas come up. So we talk about it because we know that there's a push for people to talk about gratitude and to exercise it. And we want to make it present. We need everyone to know. Kids, old people, young people, middle-aged people, all kinds of people got to know about gratitude. And when I mean old, I mean, experience, our veterans. So there's an article, there's a link in the chat. I'll share this with you, about where the quote comes from regarding gratitude. And it's a pretty good article to read. I've read it several times already, but I just wanted to share that with you. Oops, sorry, I closed my screen out. Okay, this is not what I was supposed to do. Sorry, let me share again. Now, before we wrap up, I just want to share the following with you. Like I had told you, there are so many ways to practice gratitude, but these are some of the ways that stood out to us and that we do within our workshops or that we do on a personal level. So journal writing, just, maybe it doesn't have to be right after you wake up, but just before you wrap up your day and you go to bed, what were you grateful for today? I feel like there's a power of putting things on paper and then having the ability to reflect on those things that you were grateful for a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, or maybe last year. There are people who keep diaries and they keep journals and that reflect. And gratitude is like so tied in with manifestation, if you believe in any of that stuff, all the good stuff. You can post what you're grateful for on the wall. So taking a simple sticky and just putting it on your mirror or anywhere that you frequently visit, maybe in your bathroom stall. The same thing with affirmations. You can have students research the practice of gratitude. You can have a reflection at the end of all your lessons, or have your staff, or maybe after your staff meetings, like, what was good about today's staff meeting? What was good about today's learning? That's an opportunity to express gratitude, right? To have reflection. You can noticing the environment around you, short morning discussion about what you saw on your way to and from school is something that I do with my daughter. When I pick her up, I'm like, hey, baby, so how was your day today? Like, tell me a couple of highlights of your day. What were you grateful for? Or we'll go at the park and we'll just sit there and decompress. Small little practices. A gratitude tree for the holidays or every day. A list of small things. So again, a lot of our young people, they're not able to go as deep as we want them. So we have to probe and prompt them, but they may say clothes, phones, breathing, makeup, sneakers, being able to talk, being able to be on TikTok and go viral. That's one of the things that my daughter says. I'm like, relax. We need to spend some time away from social media. Qualities about yourself that you like. Talking about yourself is good. Giving yourself praise, acknowledging yourself, right? You are your first cheerleader. So, and that's okay to give yourself that gratitude. Gratitude through art and self-expression. So spoken word, poetry, hip hop lyrics, collage, videos, what's video sharing of today's good day. So a lot of vlogging, which I like to do, and drawings. Interviewing other people at school, at home, or in your community. I'm going to pause for a second. Are there any other ways that you can maybe share here about how we can show gratitude? Other ideas that stand out, something different? You can share one or two things if there's anything you want to share. All right.
This is Dina with the Y. I would say one thing
Hi.
that with my children that I really love, it's so simple. It's just using simple manners, the please and thank yous, getting them to just say thank you, to show gratitude when people do something nice for them. It goes a long way.
Yes, thank you for sharing. A simple thank you. A simple thank you, right? It's so simple, it's so small, but so big. Like giving that person that acknowledgement, like thanking them for whatever it was. Like, and also on top of thank you, I say a lot, like, I appreciate you. I went from using thank you to saying, I appreciate you. So if someone holds the door for me, I appreciate you. If someone, like, I appreciate you. Like, that's my thank you. And it does something to people because people will stop and be like, wow, you know, that person said thank you, or that person said I appreciate you. When was the last time a person heard thank you? You know, I've had experiences where I'll open the door for someone and just walk right through, or, you know, not even see me. And I'm like, well, that was rude, you know, versus the experiences where people do see you and they're like, you know, well, thank you, I appreciate that. It's like, it puts a smile on your face. So those little pockets of moments, they're big, okay? We have 9 minutes and I just want to ask this question. How can you integrate, or how will you integrate a short or regular practice of gratitude in your days with students or with your staff? You can put it in the chat, or 1 or 2 people can, you know, unmute themselves and share. How, if you don't practice gratitude already, or if you do, how will you do it, or how do you currently do it? This is either with students or with staff.
And so I send out maybe at least a good 3 or 4 texts to my team. Okay. And maybe I can start in one of those texts just sharing my gratitude and asking what are they grateful for, and watch the responses.
I like that. So start that thread, right? Like that's a good practice. I like that. And
I
since
love
everybody's texting.
Yeah, I love texting. I think I'm gonna text that now and see what they say.
I love it. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Hicks. What else? How can you implement just a little, you know, a little bit of gratitude throughout the day? It doesn't have to be a drawn out thing where you got to be Picasso and do something crazy. It could be small. And if you don't know, if you already do it, what do you currently do? Y'all shy today. And I know y'all be chatting and talking at y'all programs and jobs. All right. Well, I won't pressure you. We can keep it moving forward. Oops. Sorry. Oh, why is my screen not working? All right. So before we wrap up, we are at the 6-minute mark. What is one thing that you liked, one thing that you learned, or one thing that surprised you? You can share anything. And again, you can put it in the chat or unmute yourselves. What is one thing you learned, one thing you liked, or something that surprised you? And I'm sorry, the people in the chat, I had it closed, but I'm looking at you now. So I see you and I acknowledge you. Mr. Green, starting the day with gratitude in the cafeteria. Love it. Positive comments. The gratitude tree. Okay. Anything that stood out to anyone today? Or what didn't you like maybe? Maybe you're like, oh, I don't know. You could share, you could tell me, you know, the things that you didn't like maybe. So let's reflect. If anyone has any comments they want to share, I'm open to all of it. We are a community of people. Sharing gratitude daily with my team. Thank you, Ms. Hicks. The gratitude tree, Bullitt County. I like the gratitude tree and the other ideas. I like the post-it idea for kids to write something down when they want it and post it on their window or wall. Yeah. When I was in the classroom, I taught middle school, I would have post-its right at the door. I had a bulletin board and I just had post-its there with emojis. And my students, I'll have them just write a word about how they feel. And then we'll post it on that. So that bulletin board was full of post-its, but it was an opportunity for students to just like let it out, right? So I work in training at PD Space for Providers, and I think it would be nice to implement this. Yes, yes, I can share all of these resources with you when we wrap up. So just feel free to email me. And yeah, So guys, last thing, we are Kid Grit, the company, and we have professional development curriculum. We have so many other products and services. So if you want to know anything about what we do, feel free to shoot me an email. You can follow us on Instagram, and that is about it. I don't want to keep taking more of your time. You don't have to do this QR code because you'll be given one by the team here, but this is my email address and this is our Instagram handle there at the bottom. So again, if you want any of the resources, email me or send me a message on via Instagram. All right, guys, we are here. We are done. Any questions, comments, concerns, conundrums, anything? You're very welcome, Laura. You're welcome, guys. I'm seeing the thank yous come in. You're super welcome. You guys made me feel very comfortable. It felt like I was with my friends just having a conversation via Zoom. Thank you so much, Lauren, Miss Hicks, everyone who spoke and was just so present. You're welcome, Mr. Robert Smith. All right, guys. Well, I think it's okay for me to say you can log off or go to your next session, all right? Bye.